Can you tell us a little bit, like, how was the writing process for Runts different if you look back on the process for Megalithic Symphony?
Megalithic Symphony was a life in the making, kind of. You know, it's like all the different projects and different ideas that I never got to really push forward or see go full circle, and so it's just night and day different in that regard. And it was my first thing, and I didn't think I'd have an audience to share with. It was just a record I was making, thinking hopefully this, you know, hopefully I like it, I guess, or my friends respect it, and all that kind of stuff. This record, obviously having an audience to share it with, has a different responsibility and a different intensity, but feels very similar as far as the excitement and the uplifting spirit and the hope of it. Where Run was like the dark, you know, introspective journal entry. I made the first record as an underdog artist, never thinking I would make it anymore because I'd been through everything, right, as you know. And then the second record was I felt even almost more depressed than before all the success, because now all of a sudden I felt like a faker almost, because what am I going to talk about? You know how great it's going? That's not fun music, you know. A lot of people brag.
Yeah, I'm so rich.
Yeah, a lot of people brag about this and that, but you know that's never the music that speaks to me. So that was, but inside I was feeling kind of weird and strange. So I went inward and made it a journal entry about sort of like just the dark way I felt, you know. But I love the record and I'm really proud of it. I knew it was a risk, and I knew I was going out there and not servicing folks with what was expected of me. But I only know how to, you know, push myself and make the songs that I like, you know, and that, because you have to remember, I'm the #1 fan of music that I know, first and foremost. So if I'm going to make music that moves me, there's got to be at least a few other people that feel the same way. So after the second record, surviving it, you know, I had a target on my back after the first record, the sale, of course, and I survived it through the gauntlet of all that. And so then it was so freeing to make this third record, Here Come the Runs, and it felt like, okay, let's get back to, you know, having this clear vision. And I kind of, you know, shed the weight of some negativity around me as well. And such is life, you know, where there's certain unhealthy elements. It could be like from what you eat to the people that you surround yourself with to where you live or whatever. And so I felt like everything was finally in a really positive place where I could focus on a concept album and lyrical content that really meant a lot to me and could speak to people directly. Where on Run, it was more me just saying how I felt and hoping people related. That was a long answer to a simple question, but
it was a really good answer. I saw someone say that they felt like Runts was like the spiritual successor to Megalithic Symphony, and I thought that was a really accurate way to put it.
It's kind of like, you know, Weezer made the Blue Album. I only say this because Rivers is a friend, you know, and so they made the Blue Album. Then they made Pinkerton, which was some of our favorites. We loved it so much, but it was thrashed a bit, right? And I compare that to Run, but it had a cult following, much like Run did and does. But Run also had commercial success too, and then Run, the song itself, ended up taking a life of its own, which is such a special, fun thing when that happens. And then after that, going into Run's sort of like Weezer's Green Album, or is like the return of, you know, a more uplifting sound, I guess, you know. Even though it sounds nothing like Weezer, but you know, that's how I take it.
Spiritually.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I've always wondered, like, you have kind of, I think, a unique perspective in the music industry because you were signed to your first band when, you know, labels kind of work traditionally versus AWOL when things had changed a lot due to, like, social media and all that.
And continue to change now.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Like, how do you think it works better now, worse now?
What,
what's the
big
big
major
difference?
label or just the industry?
the ability to get music out to people who want to hear it.
It's really cool that anyone can get music out there. That was so hard to do when we were kids, or, you know, when I say kids, I mean probably your guys' age, you know. But so it's really special that, you know, I can't believe that I could type in to my phone a song and hear it right away. There's no song I can't hear. Some, there's some rarities that you have to, dig underneath that they're to find, but mostly you could listen to anything, and that's really cool. So there's no limitation.
It's
so I feel like
amazing
music
when
will
you
get
think,
better
like,
and better,
yeah.
but I also don't know if there's ever going to be a groundbreaking new sound or genre, like, with punk rock, rap music, hip hop, I hate the word grunge, but Nirvana basically. I don't know. I just don't know if that's possible, everything's just open. It's all out there. There's so much information. That's why I really like the new Arcade Fire record, and I feel like that got shit on a bunch in the press, but I mean that song Everything Now is great. What he's speaking of, I think, great live band, great message, and the other song, Creature Comfort, is really deep to me. What he's talking about, and I think he's speaking about what I'm saying in a lot of ways. Great song.
I think it's Arcade Fire as an artist, kind of like you, where they've changed a lot.
Thank you. I mean, I would love to be compared to them anytime. They're great frontman, great vision. And it's just like we're at this place where the band is the most insane band I've ever been in. I've worked my whole life to, and not to talk bad on anyone in the past, but there's different personalities, different situations, and to be in a place now where we can be on stage and go, wait, hold on, let's do it this way. Go to this key, add this variation or voicing to the chord, and let's change on 3.5 and so forth and so on, and have people understand and be able to do that. I feel like the luckiest guy in the world to have a band that can rival any band in the world. And we play our own instruments. There's no tracks or fake shit that like most alternative bands you hear.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of shows where it's like you can tell it's not their authentic sound.
Well, they're just playing their CD live, and I say CD because it's kind of funny to say that, but most people are piping. And we had some, all fairness, we had some tracks in the beginning because I didn't know how to do it, and I played all these sounds, on the record, so we would sample them, and I don't feel good about that, but never vocals at least, maybe some percussion, and it was just kind of like people were doing it, so like, okay, but it always felt wrong, So I'm really pleased that it's been a while since that's even been an option. It seems like that's becoming very normal for people to sample vocals and acoustic guitar parts. How the fuck are you gonna sample an acoustic guitar? No one's even playing that guitar. That's hilarious. That's like Milli Vanilli, 2018. It's wild.
I've seen some shows that were kind of a letdown because you expect this big sound, and I think I'm a little spoiled by seeing you live, and I expect this extra.
We're just here to ruin other bands' lives.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I could name names. We'll go into it later. Speaking of other bands, I feel like a lot of AWOL fans have really embraced your older stuff, like Under the Influence of Giants and Hometown Hero, and even Insurgents. And other than thinking like, where the hell were you like 20 years ago? I mean, like, did that surprise you? Did you expect to like?
Well, it's just a natural thing to happen, because we became popular. Just like, when Rage Against the Machine blew up, people dug in to hit Zach's first band, Inside Out. I was a huge fan. They were a hardcore band. You could watch some of their shows on YouTube as well. And, any band that has success, if they have real fans and seem, believable or artistically worth anything, you're going to look into their previous works to see if you get that feeling from them as well. And the list goes on and on. I'm drawing a blank right now, but that happens all the time. So it's no surprise, It doesn't bum me out that they weren't there before. I guess I feel sort of embarrassed. It's like looking at old photo books or something like that, because you hear there's some moments where I'm like, oh, that's pretty nice, we were onto something there, but mostly I feel humiliation and embarrassment. It's like the wrong senior photo or prom photo.
Yeah. And you're like, what was I thinking with that hair? And,
Well, the outfits were crazy. In the Giants, I wore like elbow-length gloves like Madonna and like a cape thing, which I do wear a cape now, but I was going for like a Bowie, Mick Jagger thing, and it was a fun time. A lot of partying, a lot of like nightlife in LA and stuff, and I don't regret any of it, or anything like that. But yeah, it's some of the photos do exist, and they're ridiculous. for sure.
We love them.
Cool.
Is it, so you toured with Prophets of Rage.
Mm-hmm.
I saw one of the shows when you were in San Antonio, and it was really shocking to me. I'd never seen a crowd that was not as into you as they were, which that sounds terrible. I don't mean it to.
No, not
but
at all.
I mean, like,
Those crowds just were like, it was a bit of like a novelty show, you know. So like a lot of it wasn't a lot of young music listeners and lovers checking out. You know, Discovery was more like, oh, I kind of like Rage, I like Public Enemy, I like Cypress Hill, like a couple Audio Slave songs or whatever. Let's go check it out. We just saw it as an opportunity to exercise with some greats, you know, with Tom and Tim and Chuck D is like a complete hero of mine. And honestly, like the real reason I wanted to do that tour is because I knew I could mooch my way on stage and get to act like Zach De La Rocha just a couple times, and I got to do that, so mission accomplished. But the shows for us, they weren't that cool at all. Obviously, we were playing for not that many people, but it was humbling, and it really made me hungry to make this new record. And
that was kind of my question. Do you feel like every day when you're like, I'm going to make at least one person in that audience love me, damn it?
Yeah, like, you know, there was this time where I remember seeing an interview with Tom York, I believe, where, I'm pretty sure it was Tom York, where they went on tour with Alanis Morissette on her big record, and they were on the Bends, which is such a really important, it's a really important record. Obviously, OK Computer is like when the game changed completely, but when they went on tour with the Bends, with Alanis, they said they would just intentionally try to bore people because no one was paying attention anyway. So I got to learn a few things about myself, and we got to exercise some you know, ridiculous stage shit because no one was really paying attention. I mean, everybody in the world knows Sale, so when we played that, you know, they're like, oh, that's you guys. Okay, now I like you, you know. There'd be straight up guys just like this, fuck you, to Zach's face. He's like, so then he would just do a solo that much faster, and then, but we were having a good time with the Rage guys and those other guys, you know. So that was the point. It broke my heart to replace some of the shows with our headlining dates with those shows, but you gotta make weird decisions in life, you know. You go navigate this road, and sometimes it's a road less traveled, and you gotta take it and see what happens. And I don't know if I would have made this new album or be exactly like this had I gone on our original headlining tour, which we would have made way more money, played for more excited fans, but it was like I needed to roll my sleeves and be just shot down a bit, and it was kind of a nice thing, you know.
That's cool.
As I'm drinking my fucking 10th coffee right now. I used to drink alcohol a lot before we played, but now I'm like, I stopped. That's a huge other thing about like this record is getting sober now.
Yeah. Not
that I was an addict, it's not that heavy, but it's such a physical show that I've enjoyed playing it and allowing the music to be the high rather than chasing it with drinking or whatever, you know.
We've often discussed how we don't, like, it's so exhausting to be in the crowd. We don't understand how, like, the most I've ever done is 3 days in a row, and then I'm like, I need...
drinking and stuff? Or shows?
Your shows.
Oh, yeah.
No, drinking is fun.
Yeah.
But, like, your shows, I'm like, I don't understand how you can get out there and do this, like, for a long stretch, because just being in the audience, I feel like I need, like, a week-long nap after.
Of course, yeah. Well, yeah, like, treating your body good is important, you know, because tomorrow matters just as much as today. And I don't want tomorrow to be gnarly, you know what I mean? And I think I became so used to the songs, and certain situations were a bit unhealthy for me, you know, at the time. So I was chasing like a nice buzz, which was fun too, you know. Like I miss those times too. But now, and you know, it's not like I'm saying I'm an AA guy or trying to be like fully sober, but just treating the songs with a sober mindset is a really nice new. It's almost like I feel high, you know, being sober on stage, you know.
So when you say sober, like I know you used to be a big fan of weed. Do you not smoke anymore?
Yeah, I stopped smoking like I think it's been like 2.5 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And it just became like totally legal in California.
I know. My timing's off. But if it's legal, that must be that it's not good anymore. You know. That's how I think. I just find that, you know, you can only get so high where it gets a little bit like, all right, what am I doing here? You know? I have a huge responsibility.
Like, no, literally, I'm high. What am I doing?
Yeah, exactly. Where, like, you know, you're looking at your hand, you're wondering if it's real, you know, that's not very cool.
Yeah. Speaking of getting high, we all saw the movie 42K.
Jesus, you know.
We love it.
Fucking crazy.
We ran around like yelling quotes at each other for a couple of weeks.
I knew someone would see that, you know.
Yeah. It's a hot property. Like, you should consider seriously selling that DVD, because trying to find it is hard.
You can just order it online, I think.
You can't.
Okay.
It goes for, but like you can, but it goes for a lot of money on Amazon
what does
and
it go
eBay.
For, like $50?
Yeah, seriously. So like, I'm just saying, maybe that could be an income stream.
Maybe not.
Do you think you'll ever do any more acting? Maybe not of that caliber.
Well, I mean, in the 7 Sticks video, I kind of was acting, and I co-directed it or whatever. And like with the videos, you get to play around with the idea of a bit of acting and stuff. And Handyman, I guess there wasn't so much acting; it was just like pretty simple and chill. But if it was something that came natural to me, I used to think like acting's not that hard. But then I tried a few things with my buddy Cameron, who directed Sail and all that, and then did Bruno Mars, and now is blowing up in his country band Midland.
He moved here, didn't he?
Yeah, he moved here
to Dripping Springs.
Yeah, well, we're so happy for them, and they're great too. And so it's kind of like, I don't know, you got to respect the craft. There really is a big difference between an actual good, actor and an amateur. If it was like a sarcastic, slightly dark character that I could easily act as, then maybe I would do that.
So basically, if someone wrote you in a movie,
kind of,
then,
then maybe it'd be possible. But I look forward to making more short films, if you want to call them that, or music videos. And I'm looking forward to whatever we're gonna do next. We did so much content before the record came out, and so now, as Berko says, it's sort of like people are really starting to discover the record. With Handyman as the single starting to do really well, and so people are coming back into the AWOLNATION house, and it's fully furnished, so you can take a seat on the couch, take a nap on the bed, or go swimming in the back. So I look forward to putting more paintings on the wall for sure.
That's awesome. So that since they said it was our last question.
Well, what time is it? I mean, basically
7:14. They said we have 15 minutes, so.
Well, we can. How many more questions do you have? Like 25.
Yeah, I could scroll for hours. No, I'm just kidding. I'll ask you this one then. Have you ever written something and then like gone back and looked at it and thought somebody's gonna get a tattoo of that?
No, I really haven't ever thought that.
Really?
No, and the crazy thing is, it's the "Kill Your Heroes" lyric that is the most common tattoo.
I know,
lyric,
it sucks.
It's like, I mean, like hundreds and hundreds, so I think that my dad said that line to me once, so, and it's probably a biblical line, that he twisted in his own way or something. He's a bit of a theologian, I would say, and never coming from a judgmental, religious, gnarly, scary place,
Yeah.
But just a really good source of wisdom, for me. The trippy thing is, not to weird you guys out or turn anyone off, but like all religions, all the teachings of them have something pretty good to pull from, either
Definitely.
morally or in ways that can kind of help, and so it's very unpopular to be religious right now because of what man has done, humans have done to religions. But there's beautiful, beautiful lyrics in some of these books, whether it's
do unto others as you'd have done to you. Like,
pretty
that's
much.
great
but,
advice.
And stuff's taken out of context because the year it was written, but there's some beautiful stuff out there you can grasp onto, that. Even if you check out what Gandhi said, for example, or my dad reads a lot of Mother Teresa, that's his hero, right? So if you check out any of that, it's beautiful stuff. And those kind of lyrics, or not lyrics, those kind of words are more inspiring to me than bragging, or just talking about superficial shit, like there's a lot of music that feels like, a Snickers bar. It may taste good, but you're not going to feel good. Snickers really satisfy you. I don't think it does.
Until the blood sugar crash
I need like 30 of them
happens
to satisfy
yeah.
me, but it's just plastic. It's candy, and I encourage people to dig deeper than just listening to what is force fed to them on the radio. I know we're on the radio too, and I'm totally grateful for that. But there's some organic bands, that are healthier for you to listen to, I think, than others, for sure.
We talked a lot this weekend about frustration with radio and how sometimes they stick to known quantities when I feel like there's a whole ocean of new things out there that we haven't discovered.
And it's a Shazam world, right? And another great thing, she sounds incredible, right? But I think you know, the formula is such that they need to you need to be able to recognize it instantly. In the day and age of discovery and education of songs, you know, is slowly being lost as far as commercial goes, you know, as far as radio goes. They need something that's pretty instant, where back in the day, you know, you could put on a song from OK Computer on the radio, and even though it was a slow builder, you know, that song would mean more to you in the long run, you know. Even look at Stairway to Heaven, that would have never come out. Under the Bridge, funny reference, I know, but like if that were to come out, you know, it would take too long for the guy to start singing, right? And people would just turn it because this is now. To go full circle to that that Arcade Fire record, what he's talking about.
It's like you planned it.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I just go on rants and then I land somewhere. I don't have a plan necessarily, but you know.
Other than my tattoos, obviously, are there any that stick out in your mind as like, wow, that's really creative? Like I never thought somebody would have gone there with that. Yeah.
Well, it's always a mind blower when people want me to write it down and then get that actually done. That's
my roommate did that.
Yeah, you know, and then I just hope I draw it okay or whatever, you know. Luckily, my mom was a teacher, so she had really good penmanship. So I try to like make even with my lyrics in my journals, I want it to look pretty. So when I open the page, I'm kind of inspired by, and I'm kind of a neat freak when it comes to the lyrics and the song structure and stuff. Even though I can be scatterbrained in other ways, but I'm very organized. Like my journals will have, arrows pointing to this, and I'm sure a lot of other guys do or girls do that. But it's very organized, and once I figure out, it could be a bit of nonsense and scattered. But then once I figure out what I'm going to take from, let's say, like I usually open the journal and I write like rough ideas on the left page, and then when I finalize it, I make it perfect down, and I have like arrows pointing up or down for if I'm need to like melodically go to a higher note and I haven't remembered that necessarily yet or whatever. It's not muscle memory, and an arrow pointing down, or if the line is going to flow into the next one, I'll have an arrow pointing to the next line. It's a lot of fun, It's like revenge on the teachers that didn't think I was going to do shit in my life, And there were a lot of those, by the way. I remember in high school, I went to the homecoming dance, but I didn't have a ticket for it. I didn't go into the dance, but I just went on campus to pick up like a girl, or we were picking up these girls we were hanging out with, me and my buddies, and we got in trouble for that because you weren't allowed to go to the dance at the campus if you weren't. We're okay. If you were didn't have tickets or whatever, right? So we got called into the office, and the principal of Westlake High School, circa 1996, I don't recall her name, the Westlake High School Warriors in Southern California. She said, "Who do you think you are? You think you're better than everybody. You're not going to amount to anything." That's what she said.
Wow.
And my buddy John and I, we were just surfers, and we had a hardcore band and stuff, and it didn't hurt our feelings. We're like, this bitch is out of her mind, fuck this. And but the point is, like, I guess to not take everything so seriously. If you don't know what you're going to do with your life when you're 18 or about to embark in college, or I remember in 6th grade we were supposed to have a plan for what we were going to do. How do you know what you're going to do in your? I don't know what I'm doing now.
When I was in 6th grade, I wanted to be a cowgirl, I think. So.
Of course, and that would have been cool too,
Still could be.
Yeah, so in
that's
class,
crazy,
high
though.
school's a crazy thing. Like, you don't even know what you're going to do,
But it feels like the most important thing in the world when you're there.
Yeah, and your friends, and heartbreak at a young age too. You think like, oh my God, this is just and then it's it gets better for sure. You learn what you like, what you don't like, and you got to kind of take care of yourself and learn what works for you and what doesn't, and never be desperate. Always try to take care of your own heart, protect it a little bit. And when you find someone that's worth sharing your heart with, you'll know. You always know when it's not right, and you continue to go and hope for the better, but it just doesn't get better. You always know. You knew all along. Therapy is what we're doing here.
That's so profound. I feel like we should end it there because
Okay, cool.
like you
it's
couldn't.
all going downhill.
Yeah, that's such a good quote. I feel like everything else will just be worse.
Cool.
Also, where I went to high school, also the Warriors.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, that was the worst.
And it was like a Native American thing.
Yes.
And it was like.
And now you look at
Westlake,
it and you're like,
what is
that's
that?
really racist.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was certainly not. Didn't feel right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. But yeah, and we were orange and blue, and those are whack colors, like orange and blue.
We were orange and black.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And my wife Erin, they were the Braves, and they were orange and black.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Orange and black, it's like Halloween. Of
Yeah.
course, but
Yeah, it was a weird choice.
So where do you guys all live then?
I live here.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
My voice crack. It's gonna be a great night.
We're from New Orleans.
Okay.
Florida.
Yeah, you live in Florida.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this is like
We're playing shows there later on, which we haven't announced yet, but
I live like 10 minutes from here,
Yeah.
so this is awesome. Like I don't have to fly anywhere. Like
Right.
I can go to my own bed and
That's
my
cool.
dog and my cat, and like that's not an experience I
Yeah.
get a lot.
Which
Yeah.
I never get to do.
Yeah.
How far are you from like any reality of a place we'd play in Florida?
I live in Pensacola.
Okay. Yeah.
Nobody comes to
Yeah, yeah,
Pensacola.
Well, I think
But-
we're playing some various Florida things.
Yeah.
This
I've been
summer.
to Gainesville
Yeah.
and Tampa.
Right.
And, I go.
Yeah. And with the Florida thing that just happened is like, with the song Handyman, it carries a different kind of weight than I expected, although when I wrote it, there were definitely some serious, unfortunate things that were happening. But now it's almost like hard to carry through the song because of what's gone down,
Yeah.
And so hopefully people can
When you
feel positive about it, I guess.
the tragedy though, I feel like what's come out of it and the way those kids have, this is my personal opinion,
Yeah.
the way those kids have like been like, we're not gonna accept this,
Yeah.
that the world is just like this. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like out of the ashes of the tragedy, like
Sure.
this spirit, like this is the next generation of punks, right? Like
Yeah. It's almost too heavy for me to talk about, But yeah, I don't know. It's just gnarly.
What better way to put it than we are the runts?
yeah.
I guess so. Yeah.
Kind of cheesy.
You
but
said it. You said it. So if
It's
people
cheesy,
think
but
it's lame, it's your fault.
Yeah, we're gonna attribute it to you though.
But you have Adidas pants, so I feel like you could jump super high tonight. That's the thing.
He's gonna be like, when he says jump, he's gonna be like, jump.
Yeah.
That's the
Get
goal.
your hops on.
Thank you so much for doing
thanks.
this.
Yeah,
it was super
I
cool.
wish every interview was with you guys. It'd be a lot easier.
We wish that too.
Yeah.
Because then we wouldn't be asking you like, so I hear you're a surfer?
Yeah, I know. Where'd you get the band name from?
There was a question that everyone used to ask you. I can't remember what it was, but we used to joke, like, if I hear one more person ask him this, like, I'm going to lose my shit.
It's like it's always the band name usually, like where that came from or how'd you meet the guys? Like who cares how I met
Yeah.
the guys? I hope you like how we play.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a credit to you that you, like, give honest, consistent answers.
I lie sometimes just
Yeah.
to keep it fresh and fun,
Yeah.
or just to entertain the other guys because I'm like, oh my god, I have to say this right now and they're here and they have to hear my voice, because we're just on top of each other all the time. We get sick of the sight of our own faces, or like these guys see this jacket one more time in the back lounge, they're gonna freak out. You know what I mean? It's like that, and it goes like that fast, But now we're here at Outdoor Stubbs, beautiful evening. There's nothing better than outdoor lights in trees.
I had no
Right.
idea that this area of Stubbs, I've been here like 100
Yeah.
times. I live here. I'm like, when we walk back here, I'm like, are we in Narnia? Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
cool, right?
know this area ever existed because I'm not like important enough to hang out here.
Yeah,
so
you are. But
I am
what-
now. Thanks.
One good little tidbit is there's no real bathroom. There's a porta potty
Yeah,
that
that's for us too. So if
that
you
my
were,
manager one time had a wild night inside of. You'd have to ask him about it. And it wasn't like in a gross way.
yeah,
it was
but
just-
like the Berko interview, like we're gonna ask for that next.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
You may regret what you find out. when you talk
Yes,
to him.
I've already had regrettable moments. And
Cool.
like, yeah, like people really believe the Earth is flat, and
Well,
I'm sad
yeah,
about that.
yeah.
One thing
It wouldn't be so outrageous, would it? Though.
One thing that I just kind of want to say before we left was
Santa Claus
like,
isn't real.
Yeah. What?
So,
like, as a fan, like we see a lot of the stereotypical questions that we were talking about. Just like they always get asked, but like the fans want to know the deeper things, like what really goes on in your head when you're writing everything. And one thing we've noticed is that what goes on in your head really comes out in the music, and we've noticed that lately you're happier. And one thing about your music and the shows and everything, it's just that it brings out, it's not just like a show that you're going to, it's a full experience. And there's a very small list of bands that I can say where, like, when they come anywhere near New Orleans, I will say I have to go, and AWOLNATION makes that list every time.
Well, that should be the headline of this interview. What he just said. I should be paying him $100 every minute for those nice things.
You guys had a
What are
deal
the other
before,
bands?
didn't you?
It's like Guns N' Roses, Metallica.
Cool.
So like
Wow,
y'all
that's
go up
that's,
there.
That's a heavy hitter list right there. Duff is a good friend of ours from GNR.
That when we saw Duff in the music
video,
we like he's the biggest GNR fan
Yeah.
I know.
I think I mentioned that.
Well,
last
Isaac
time.
played in
Loaded.
Duff's band Loaded, so that's how we became buddies. And my first manager also manages Duff, so it's kind of all in the family now. He may, when we play in LA, he may play a song with us. He's done that before, 2 different times. And then, what was it? Oh, Metallica. This isn't, I don't know Metallica, but we played in New Orleans at Voodoo Fest.
Same year.
And when we came off stage, Hetfield had been watching the set, and I was like, no way, James Hetfield saw me. And he's like, hey, my daughter's a big fan. Can I get a photo? Can I take a photo with her? I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to use this selfishly to talk to him more, right?
Yeah.
So as we were posing for the photo, he said in his great Metallica voice, he's like, everybody say AWOLNATION. And then we posed, and I couldn't believe it. And then I was like, man, it's just an honor to be with you. And he told me that he thought I was a great frontman. It was a really big deal.
Wow.
So we're better than Metallica is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, that's going to be the headline.
Metallica kicks so much
it's like
ass, right?
it's like the Beatles bigger than Jesus, like AWOLNATION better than Metallica.
Yeah. No, they're incredible. I mean, the Black Album, everybody pisses on the Black Album, but I love the Black Album very much. And everything before, it was unbelievable. The newest record was kind of awesome.
I love the record.
Yeah. But the Black Album on a pop drumming level, there are drum fills on there that are so musical and so complementary to the melody that it really taught me a lot about approaching drums, not only for rock stuff, but also a more hip hop sound too, in a weird way as well. And Lars isn't like, technically the best drummer, but he's so musical. He's like, he's like the Ringo of metal.
He has a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
He doesn't let anything stop him from having his fun.
We've got to play with him a bunch of times in European festivals where they like walk on stage and the place fucking, you think that you're gonna die basically because people go so crazy. It's awesome.
What about you getting behind the drums again on stage?
I don't think so. He's so good.
Yeah.
Like I used to do it because I had a specific way I wanted certain parts to sound, and it was just all so new. It was a lot of fun to do, but now I feel like a fool because he's so good. It's like, not only does he squash me talent-wise, but just the way the drums sound. Because any of us can go, right? But it's a certain way he cracks it that sounds so good that I would just be bumming out myself, you know what I mean, if I tried. It's the same reason I don't play guitar, because Zach's so insane on guitar that I'm just like, you guys are the pros, and I'm just here for the ride,
Well, one thing to tie in with that, like one question that we've kind of been wondering is like, will we ever see you pick up the guitar and play some kind of joke again on stage?
I don't know. I just don't see that happening right now. It was a lot of fun, but I'm so average or below at guitar that it would just be doing the whole muse of music a disservice, But it was a lot of fun to do.
I have to ask this because I ask this every time I get to talk to you. Will we ever hear Cannibals?
Cannibals. I thought you were, okay, I was like, wait, we have Cannonball and
You're
Cannibals.
like, no, Cannibals on the album. Like, if I gave you $100 right now, like, can we?
Oh, you've never heard the record? No one's heard. It's never been out, right?
Right.
No.
That's what I'm trying to get.
Well, that's what's cool is we got all these weird little songs that never saw the light of day. That did Scanning the Room ever come out? Have you heard that song?
Mm-mm.
It's a nice song. Yeah, there's a lot of other songs.
I'm hearing like B-side
Well,
album.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of songs that never saw the light of day because there's just different reasons, not everybody loves us like you guys do, or whatever. You
What?
know what I mean?
No.
Or like you care about these
That's
songs
not
like I
true.
do. But you know, not to keep bringing up Weezer, or Nirvana, but like, you know, their B-sides I cherished, right? But not everybody cares to look into that, you know. And but yeah,
Could we just have it? Like,
yeah, you'll be the first to have it. But I'd probably do a, you know, once over on some of these songs just to make sure there's nothing glaringly stupid, you know, on there. or you know, a way to. There's songs that didn't make the record on this one too.
Yeah.
Two in particular, and one was supposed to be like the single at first, but then it's kind of got this like Hawaiian dance feel that was like weirdly political and stuff, and it wasn't right. I liked the song, but it didn't fit the vibe of the record, you know?
I feel like maybe good songs have probably been cut because they were good but didn't fit the theme or the vibe, or like
Cannibals I love. That's
Me
one I
too.
would like to. Would you hear it? Would you just play it or something?
You used to play it live. In fact,
I don't even know why we would do that. You know.
You used to do it. You did it at Emos in Austin, and like we used to like. Everybody would whip their phones out and try to record it so we could try to figure out like what the lyrics are, and like, you know, afterwards we're all sitting there like this, and you can't fucking understand on a phone mic.
I know. I think I wasn't happy with the drum sound that I got on that, so I would probably just redo that. But thank you for reminding me. You know, we have a very clear goal for this album, and you know how many years we want to reach with it, you know, as a whole. And once we get there, it'll be easier to get into the fun of B-sides, you know, but we have a long way to go, and we just got started. And this is the most positive reaction I've ever gotten to an album, you know, so that's been really cool. So yeah, we're just chipping away, brick by brick, you know. Building
really
brick by
great,
brick, I should say, because we're the A&M builders.
That's like you've given us so many good
Many
quotes
endings, you know.
from this interview. Like it's just
That's an old shirt, right?
Like maybe like 3 years ago.
Well, I was just thinking, like, it's fun to be in a place to have 3 albums where, like, you know, you can see different eras of merch. You know? At first, it's just all the same kind of stuff, and it's so fun to see shirts where I didn't even really know we made that shirt or whatever. Maybe the label made it, or, you know.
Especially here in Austin, because I feel like, you know, people have been fans of you for a long time.
This is the birthplace of our success, for sure. You know, the other places got into it, but this is where I had my first, like, you know, real moment where I realized, wow, this maybe is going to do pretty good, you know. It was inside there. Were you at that show, the very first one?
No, I wish. I feel like I was
I
was like the last person in this city to hear Sail, and then when I heard it, I was like, this is the best song ever.
It's a pretty good song. I still like playing that song. It's really easy to sing. It's easy to play, so it's nice.
Yeah.
You know? If it was another song that carried that kind of weight and responsibility, it'd be hard, you know, to play.
Yeah.
But
I think it was smart. I feel like you were like, okay, Sail is its own thing, and you never tried to write another Sail. And
I don't know
probably,
how I wrote it to begin with.
That's
you know?
probably why the other 2 albums have been so good, because you weren't just trying to be like, what if I made 14 versions of Sail?
Well, a lot of other bands have done that for me. You know, I thought Jailbreak had a weird, like, stepsister to Sail vibe on the last record, you know, and Run in some weird ways in the song, you know. But yeah, that's that.
I would say like people like Plastic to me had the sort of vibe of like frustration, and that sort of came through in Sail, and like anger, and
we should probably start playing that. Windows maybe a little bit too, you know.
I remember I saw y'all in the Fillmore in Detroit during the Run tour.
Yeah.
And my friend that I've known since like 2nd grade, I took her to that concert, and y'all played like People Like Plastic, and at the very end, like it became like a joke for me and her. Every time we'd see each other, we'd look at each other and just say like, fuck your ghost. And it was just she had never listened to AWOLNATION before that. She had heard Sail before, but like I took her to that show and she became a genuine fan.
Cool.
And y'all really do create fans just off the pure experience.
I can't believe I said that lyric. I was just pissed, you know.
Yeah.
I said it was a fun part to play. Getting older though, screaming isn't as fun as it once was. It hurts a little.
the screaming is fun. It's the next day when you can't talk.
I know. I thought my voice was getting a little weird a couple days ago, but then we did the show and it felt better after. So,
It's good.
you know, have you guys got into Iron Tom yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely.
They're playing tonight.
I saw them.
enjoyed
They've done a couple shows here on
Yeah.
their own that I've gone to, and they're really good.
Yeah. We're working on some new songs for them too. Right now. Good kids, and I stole their band.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like,
They're just such good players, and you know, everybody has to believe in what you're going for to have a healthy relationship, you know, and a goal, you know, that you set, and we have that. We want to be able to stand toe to toe with any band in the world live. You know, there's a certain kind of insanity that metal has, you know, but I feel like we can hang with some serious metal bands too.
I've seen Refused a bunch of times, and I've seen AWOL a bunch of times, and like both have had very brutal shows where I'm like, yes, I survived.
That's cool. Yeah, Refuse. The last tour I saw him at the. Well, it's called the Henry. It was called the Henry Fonda Theater. I forget what they're calling it right now. I know they changed it in LA, but it was just so physical and athletic, and it sounded so good, and the lights were so perfect that it floored me. You know, and it made me really excited to start going on tour because I knew we could. I'm never gonna say that we're the same as Refuse or anything like that, but I knew that I could push it as far as I want, as you know, with taking the songs and flipping them in half and throwing them in the gutter and recovering them, and you know, somehow, someway. Because I don't want you to hear the record live right now. I want you to hear the live experience that you can only get here, you know. So.
That's the awesome thing. I feel like there's not a lot of bands that have such a strong live show as AWOL.
Thank you. Do you enjoy hearing them clip their fingernails right now?
Yes, super.
See, that's the kind of shit. It's like a camping trip where someone's flossing you.
Yeah. Like, it's a weird choice, but whatever.
Yeah.
We were talking to some people in the crowd last night, and there were some people joking around like, who's ready to go crazy with AWOLNATION, because of course they've only heard Sales, so they're gonna joke like that. But we were kind of like, we were talking to everybody, and we were saying like you wouldn't believe this, but AWOLNATION is a lot heavier in person, and it gets chaotic. And last night, this morning and last night, we were looking on Twitter, just kind of seeing what people were saying about the show, and everybody was saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe that it was that insane." I love the show.
Well, you know, the Runts is pretty. They're new, you know, and so people are just still discovering it. It's only been out for a little bit, but if you hear that record represents our live thing more than the first two do, you know. So just the opening song, you know, shows, I guess, what we're going for, you know.
It's cool that every record brings more people in, and it's fun to see them discover, you know.
Yeah. Doing our best,
cool
you know.
shit. Yeah. Okay, we've taken up so much of your time.
That was cool. You know, everything's cool. I appreciate it very much. Yeah.
We do too.
Thank you guys
so much.